And for analysis, we're going to bring in former New York Stock Exchange Chairman and CEO Richard Grasso. Dick, thanks so much for joining us. Pleasure to have you here.
Matt, great to be here.
Let me ask first about the regulatory reform. I mean, the Q&A session will be key today, and we're going to take that all live. But as far as what you know from the legislation and what you've heard from the Secretary so far, what do you think about regulatory reform?
Well, I'm liking what I'm hearing. I'm liking it because what the Secretary is saying, number one, he's not going to pile new rules on old rules. He's going to make the old rules that make no sense go away, and the new rules will be substantive reform. I like the fact that he understands and he is communicating a striking of balance between what was and what must be, okay? And what I mean by that simply, Matt, is, you know, everyone's been beating up on Wall Street in the last couple of months, and we should never forget in this country that if you want to create jobs, if you want to raise standards of living, you have to raise capital, and you need Wall Street to do that. You need a new, clean, reformed Wall Street. I like what I'm hearing.
Well, why then have we gotten so much pushback from Wall Street? I mean, obviously this is a sales job. He's come up here to do this speech. There's been outreach from the administration. It feels like a little bit more over the past couple of months, but still chilliness here.
If you were to make it a balance sheet, Lizzie, okay, with the positive on the left and the negative on the right, there's been so much negative about Wall Street. The consumer, the investor, average Americans think Wall Street is slightly below, in terms of their impressions of honest dealing, slightly below shady used car dealers. So that's why I think Geithner is here, and I'm happy that he's doing it. I'm happy that the administration understands the sensitivity that exists right now. There's a linkage. You can't have capital being formed or jobs being created unless Wall Street is there to do it.
Let me ask you about capital formation from the perspective of the stock exchange. I got a lot of traders emailing in because they heard you were going to come on the show today. Do you think that the New York Stock Exchange is functioning better now with so much electronic trading, or would you prefer to see it go back a little bit to the more human trading that we saw when you stewarded the exchange?
I think, again, we're talking about striking a balance. There was a benchmark event, May 6th, the flash crash, where the computers just wound out of control and disparate rules caused people to get hurt. I think it's a combination of great technology and great people and great regulatory oversight. You know, listen, they got rid of me. Now they've got a better management team in there, okay? And hopefully they'll get this thing right.
But a lot of people are concerned about, you know, the runaway banks, the size of the banks on Wall Street, not only in Washington, but here in New York as well. I mean, the high-frequency trading has a lot of people on the stock exchange concerned. Does that kind of thing need to be addressed by legislation?
It's a good point by my former colleagues, because change begets fear of the unknown. When you first had program trading, people said, let's get rid of it, okay? It serves no useful purpose. HFTs, the high-frequency trading firms, they say serve no purpose. They're wrong. They provide liquidity, but they've got to be managed regulatorily to make certain that their technology and this liquidity doesn't cause disjointed pricing.
Do you see, though, it took so long to get this bill that Secretary Geithner is coming up to talk about today through the Congress? There's some proposals in the Senate on high-frequency trading, but do you really see them going?
Well, I think the good news there, Lizzie, is that Mary Shapiro, the chair of the SEC, is enormously talented and very, very deep in her experience in markets. May 6th, you know, was, again, a wake-up call. And she and her fellow commissioners have instructed that staff to implement shock absorbers and circuit breakers, things designed to make certain we don't kill the free market, but we don't let the free market become a free-for-all market.
Let me ask you, Dick, you know, you have a lot of praise for new management of the New York Stock Exchange, for Mary Shapiro of the SEC. Is there any organization that you think needs to do a much better job here?
The New York Mets.
The New York Mets. All right, Richard Grasso with a lot of kind words. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Dick Grasso there, former CEO of the New York Stock